It's nearly 230 years since the change, since the English first landed at Sydney Cove. Some think our history began 230 years ago. Others know a lot better. But there's still a paternalism in Australia. Things are better not talked about. Things are better not said. The history of this country is hidden under a veneer. It's a history of chains, of limits. Those chains and limits still exist.
When we think about our culture and think about the thousands of years that we've been here prior to European settlement, I like to remind people that their imprints are deeply embedded in the land. These imprints, when they walked the land thousands of years ago, as the first people, first custodians, they were here since time immemorial. Everything we ever needed came from the land. I look back there and think of 228 years ago when people came to this country that we all call Australia our home now. They arrived here on the shores, and if we think of what the culture was in those days, all their brass buttons and red coats and all the stuff that they wore, and here they come to this country, pull into the shores, they don't see any houses, no prisons, no jails, no fences. This, what to them was nothingness. And thus begin the timeline travel of colonisation of this country.
I've been trying to trace my family history, because you get to this stage of your life and you want to know who you are. And a couple of times now I've actually driven down to the Glen Innes, Inverell, Armidale, Tinga area. But the stories that she started telling me of our Indigenous heritage just made me come together. It was like my stomach all fitted together, and I naturally then understood why my children learnt the didgeridoo, my paintings in the house are Indigenous paintings, because it's actually in me, and I feel that very strongly.
Well, when Cook was sailing up the east coast of Australia, there are Aboriginal people here. He called them Indians they all call them Indians.
That we have been here for 21,000 years on this island. Over in the Kimberleys, over in Western Australia, they're coming up, research there has come up with a figure of almost 70,000 years. The original inhabitants of this land have the oldest living culture in the world.
Aboriginal people, I believe, stick to their law. They're honest people, and I think they stuck to the law and even used that when Cook's men were there. They could have quite easily, they would have been outnumbered, 1,000 times over. So they allowed the white strangers to be there, repair their boat, and hopefully keep moving.
Many years ago, I'm figuring, in the late 18th century, the local stockmen actually rounded up the native people of the area and herded them towards the edge, and then actually pushed them over that cliff. And driving towards it, it's intense. You can feel that from the area. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that before we were driving there. And I think other people who have spoken to me about Mile Creek massacre, they've gone there and they have felt it.
18 years after Cook, after that journey with Cook sailing up the east coast, 18 years later was the arrival of the first fleet, and that was the end of life for Aboriginal people as they knew it at that time.
To me, I could stand here and say, this is a disgrace and look what they did to us. Okay, it's not about that. Yes, it was done, but what are we going to do to right this now, to build relationships?
That's right, yeah.
To be one in that spirit of incarnating those differences.
Yeah.
Why is January 26th Australia Day? Why the flag? Why no Charter of Rights, freedoms? This is a country of many myths, events, and lots of history. This history is our Australia.